It is automatically installed on almost all the modern web browsers. So we explicitly don't need to install it on our system or maybe on the browsers. We directly have to, just run it, and yes, our website will, start working. Next thing is, you can of course do beautiful things, create beautiful websites using this JavaScript, and it has lots of functionalities, inbuilt functionalities, frameworks, and lots of libraries that you can utilize in your own code, in your own website to make your work easy. All right. Next, okay, let's now switch on to our first JavaScript program. Okay, so first JavaScript program, it is like, uh, a simple hello world program. I, rather show you here. Okay, see how this program looks like. See, I told you JavaScript is closely intact with HTML. Okay, so for that, for implementing the JavaScript code, for writing the JavaScript code, you have to write a HTML tag, and inside that we are going to put this body tag, and inside the body tag I have this script tag. Now what this script tag means, see, there are different languages, even other than JavaScript. We have different languages that can be used while creating a website, but for now we are going to use JavaScript. Hence I am mentioning that language is an attribute that tells what language we are going to use to write the code, the script code. Okay, script tag tells that this is the functionality. Okay, this is the code that is related to the functionality of the website. Okay, so script, language, JavaScript, and then it has two statements: document.write hello world, console.log hello console. Okay, so now we need to understand first what is the difference between the two. See, both of them are used to print some specific thing. Now document.write is used to print on a website. Okay, so here document, you can consider it as a website, and on this document you'll have to write this function, use this write function to print whatever is present inside this codes. Okay, so another is console.log. Console, you can consider it as a rough area where, just like, your maths rough area where you do all the background calculations and all those stuff. So console, you can also consider it as a rough area where you want to print the rough things, or maybe, to verify the things whether it is working fine or no. For that purpose, you're going to print some rough statements and all those stuff. Okay, so let me run it for you. So once I'll run, I'll show you the difference. It will only show you hello world here. So this hello world is printed from the statement document.write hello world. Okay, now I'll show you this. You'll have to simply right click anywhere on the website, click on inspect, and then a pop-up will appear on your right hand side here, and let's click on console. Okay, so once you click on console, it will show you hello console. So this hello console basically comes from this statement. Okay, so console, you can consider it as a rough area, and you can print the rough statements that you want. Okay, so for now we don't need it. I'll close that. Okay, so this is hello world program, simple hello world program, and I hope it is pretty easy for you, right? Okay, so let's move on. Now, let's look into some of the properties of this JavaScript. So what are the properties of the JavaScript? Well, this JavaScript is case sensitive. What does that mean? Okay, that means it is, see, different things, different, if you are going to use caps, if you are going to use lowercase, if you are going to use uppercase, then, then it will mean differently. For example, there is a variable that, let's say age. Okay, so if you'll write age in caps, AGE, and then if you'll write age in small letters, small a, small g, small e, then both the variables will be counted as the different variables and you can put different values in it. Okay, next, JavaScript is generally, each statement of JavaScript is generally followed by a semicolon, but you can also skip it, okay? But it's a good practice to put a semicolon at the end of each statement, which makes it very clear that the statement has ended. Now, JavaScript, in this JavaScript, no, you can ignore the spaces, tabs. Basically, it doesn't, in JavaScript, do not mean, in JavaScript, we do not mean anything about these spaces, tabs, and new lines. So you can easily use these spaces, tabs, and new lines for the purpose of proper indentation in your code. All right. Next is about giving comments in JavaScript. See, comments are, just small overview or maybe, the comments that you want to give over the code, what that code is about, or maybe whatever, small details about the code. But those comments won't be executed. Okay. So if it is a single line comment, you can simply put double slash and put whatever you want as a comment. But if it is a multi-line comment, you really have to put this slash, forward slash and star, and then maybe whatever lines of comment you want to put, you can put it there and then close it with the help of a star and a forward slash. All right. So these were few properties of JavaScript. Okay. Now don't get confused with this JS. JS stands for JavaScript. Okay. We will use it interchangeably. Okay, so now the point is how the JS code, how the JavaScript code needs to be placed in the code, in the HTML code. Okay, well, to do this, we have three options. First, I'll show you. Okay, so basically, first is JavaScript in head part. Okay, we can place it in head part here. See, I have placed it here. We can place it in body part as I showed you in the previous example as well. And we can also, place this JavaScript in a separate file. Okay, like this. So what is the purpose of each of this, each of the way? See, first thing is, okay. So first we put JavaScript in the body. Okay, so if you really need this script to run when the website loads, we put it in the body part. Okay, and if you want the script to be executed when you are, maybe as an action of some event, you're going to put it in the head part. Okay, and external file, why do we use that? See, external files we use for the purpose of proper documentation, or maybe if we want to reuse our JavaScript code, we put it in a separate file. So putting in a separate file allows our, different HTML pages to have access to this JavaScript file, and we can use this specific function in more than one file. Okay, so I'll just show you something over here. JavaScript in head part. Okay, I'll run it for you. So as I told you, in the head we put whenever we have to execute the JavaScript as an action to some specific event. So I'll click here, it's a mouse event. Okay, it's a click event, and then hello world is printed inside the alert. Okay, next I'll show you JavaScript in the body part. I'll run it for you. Okay, so hello world. So see, hello world, this is a web page body, is printed as the website is loaded. Okay, so there is no need of any event to occur to get this printed. Okay, next I'll show you the external JavaScript, which see, if I have placed an external JavaScript file over here, then definitely we need to attach this file with the our HTML code. And how do we do that? See, it's a simple thing. Script, type, type tells what type of script it is, whether it is a text or a JavaScript. Then source, here in the source we need to mention the name of the uh, the JavaScript file. Here I have named it as external.js, so I have mentioned as external.js. Okay, so here I have pasted this, I have kept this external.js file in the same folder. That's the reason I'm directly giving the name. But just in case, if you are putting it in some other folder, you have to mention the entire link or maybe the address, uh, of that JS file, the location of that JS file. Okay, and okay, let's try to run it. Okay, so now see, this is the body, and now once I click it, say hello. So it is again, kind of say printing hello world on our alert. Okay. So that was about 3 ways how we can place our JS code. I'll repeat. First, in the head part, whenever we want any event to execute the code, we are going to put it in the head tab. If we want the code to be executed when the website loads, we're going to put it in the body tab, an external JS file just for the reusability of code. Okay. Next is, okay, we have done it. All right. So let's talk about JS data types. Okay. So like every other programming language, we do have data types in JavaScript, but they are very sorted in this JavaScript. Okay. We only have 3 primitive data types: numbers that will hold any integer or maybe the float value. It can be any integer, it can be any float. Strings, any text value has to be encoded in the double quotes, and then the boolean. Boolean is either true or false. Okay, so true or false values are called as boolean values, and any variable that is going to hold either true or false has to be a boolean boolean data type. Okay, next is JavaScript variables. Okay, now what are variables? First we're going to talk about that. Okay, so JavaScript variables are basically, okay, not JavaScript variables. Variables are basically, you can consider them as a, let's say, containers. Okay, let's say you have a container, and in that container you put your toys. All right. So let's say you have different types of toys. You have 2 boxes in which, to separate out different toys that you have. So first box is going to hold the educational toys, and second box is going to hold any other toy which is apart from, the educational toy, maybe a bat ball, or maybe the table, the racket of the whatever, the tennis or whatever it is. Okay, so there are 2 boxes that are going to classify the toys. You're going to put the toys inside those boxes with a classification of uh, educational toys and non-educational toys. All right. So let's say you're going to give a label to each of the box, educational and non-educational. Okay. So as I told you, variables are boxes that will hold some value. Okay. Like your boxes will hold some toys, variables are going to hold some value. Okay. So the name of a variable means the label that you have given to a toy box. Okay. Let's say age. Age is a variable name. Okay, it will hold some value. Let's say you are 12 years old. So the variable age will hold the value 12. All right. Now, the label that you are going to give to the boxes will remain same always. What will change? The number of toys that you'll put in. The toys that you'll put in keep on changing, but the label will remain same. Similarly, the name of the variable remains same, just the value keeps on changing. For example, today I have a student who is 12 years old. I'm going to store the age as 12. Tomorrow, if a student comes and his age is 15 years, then definitely my age variable will hold the value 15. Okay. So the age, the variable name age will remain same forever. What will keep on changing? The value inside the variable. All right. How do we, give a name to a variable? So it's simple. Var name, and then this is about variable declaration. Okay. So I'm declaring a variable, just like you're just giving a label to the box. You're not putting anything in it. You're just giving a label to it. Okay. Okay. Another variable we have where money is equals to 100. So here you are declaring it, you are putting a label on the box, and you are also putting some toys inside it, the number of toys. Okay, so I'm putting 100. Let's say my savings are $100. So I'll put 100 in the variable money. Okay, all of this has to be done within the script tag. All right. So that was about variables. Okay. Now let's talk about some rules to give a name to a variable. Okay. See, although we don't have any rules to give a name to a maybe a child, whenever a child is born, parents do think about the name, what the name they would like to give to their child. So although there are not any rules, but definitely parents either take some name from some of their religious books, maybe from a personality who is famous enough, or maybe some similarities between the mom and the dad's names, and then depending on those similarities, parents select the name of the child. Okay, so it's basically up to the parents, right? Similarly, there are certain rules that we are going to use, that we have to follow basically to name a variable. Okay, and what are those rules? These rules are pretty simple. See, first thing is, any any of the JavaScript variables should not be given a name uh, on the name of a keywords. Keywords are some reserved words which have some specific meaning, and it is already defined. Okay, defined to the world. Okay, so you cannot use those keywords as a name to your variables. Okay, next rule, your variable name should never start with any of the digit. From 0 to 9, doesn't matter what the digit is, it shouldn't start with that digit. Although your variable can contain digit, but somewhere in the between and in the end. Okay, but not in the beginning. Yes, now what should be in the beginning? In the beginning, it can be a letter A to Z, capital or small, whatever you want. And it can also start with a underscore, okay, underscore character. All right. So another thing is, as I already told you, JavaScript is case sensitive. So variables with caps on and caps off means different things. Okay, for example, there is a variable whose name, variable name. So this name is going to be different with this name. There are two, they are counted as a two different variables. All right. Okay, so next is operators. Okay, so these operators are very interesting. Okay, I'll talk about each one of those. Okay, let us first look into what are operators. See, operators are, you can say, operators are something that perform some task. Okay, operators are generally they are the symbols. Okay, they are the symbols that perform some specific task. For example, addition plus will do addition. Star will do the multiplication. Okay, like that. Okay, so there are 5 types of operators: arithmetic operators, comparison operators, logical or maybe relational operators, assignment operators, conditional operators. Okay, we also call them ternary operators. We'll talk about each one of them. I'll show you the working of just one or two operators of each category, and you'll get an idea basically how all of them work. So first is arithmetic operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, increment, decrement, modulo are some arithmetic operators. Okay, so here is addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, modulo gives you the remainder. Okay, whenever you divide two numbers, the remainder you'll get with the help of a modulo operator. Plus plus is the increment operator, minus minus is the decrement operator. We'll talk about it, don't worry. Okay, so let's first look into this arithmetic operators. Okay, so let's go here. Operators, here we have. Okay, so let's go up. So here we have arithmetic operators. I have taken two variables, a and b. Value of a is 33, value of b is 10. So where line break is again a variable which is used to give a break of a line. Okay, no need to focus over here. Then we have written arithmetic operators on the website. Then again we have given a break, left some vertical space. Then we're going to print a plus b is equals to, and then finally in the result variable we are going to calculate the addition of a and b. A plus b. A plus b is 33 plus 10, that is 43. Okay, and then we are going to print this result on the website, and then again we are going to give one vertical spacing. I'll just run it for you, alright? You'll get better understanding out of it. Okay, so arithmetic operators, a plus b is equals to comes from which statement? A plus b is equals to, okay? And then we're going to print this 43 by simply printing the result over here. Okay, make sense? All right, so now let's go to this next type of arithmetic operator. It is little different. That's the reason I'm taking it as an example. So a plus b, a is equals to plus plus a. So whenever there is something as plus plus or maybe minus minus, that is basically, this basically increments, plus plus increments the value of a. Whatever the value of a is, it will increment 1 to that value. Okay, so a is 33. I have done plus plus a. Plus plus a means 33 plus 1, which is equals to 34, and this 34 value will be stored in the variable a. So now a value is 34. Okay, we're going to print plus plus a is equals to, and then we'll calculate the result. Once again, see, mind it, we are once again doing plus plus a, which is 34 plus 1 is equals to 35, and this 35 value will be stored in the result variable, which is printed on the website. See, plus plus a is equals to 35. Cool? All right, so let's get on to our next type of, see, the same way, plus minus, just we have done this plus and increment operator. You can use rest of the operators. As I told you, this is basically your modulo operator, and this is your decrement operator. Just like your increment, it adds 1, you have decrement which subtracts 1. Okay, and then we have comparison operators. Whenever you are doing some sort of comparison between the two values, you have to use comparison operators. Maybe I can show you here. Of course, there are different types of comparison operators. I have taken only one as an example, but let me try to explain you all of these comparison operators. So double equals to, okay, it might seem a single big equals to, but it is something like this. Okay, but since there is no spacing written, it is written as it is with no spacing in between, I am just trying to keep it as it is. So double equals to is used to see whether the two numbers or the two values are same or no. Okay, while exclamation equals to, we say it as not equals to, checks whether both the values are different or no. Okay, so all these comparison operator basically returns a boolean value, either true or false. Okay, true is returned if both are equal. In case of double equals to, it will return true if both are different. Okay, now this is greater than. If a is greater than b, then it will return or perform some specific task. If b is we can say less than a, which means the value of B is less than A, the value of A. Okay, then this is greater than equals to, less than equals to. Maybe I can show you one example. Okay, so here we have the comparison operators. I have taken, again, don't focus over here. It's just a matter of, printing something. A is 10, B is 20. Okay, now document dot write A double equals to B is equals to, okay, and then we'll calculate what the value, what the output comes out to be for this statement. A double equals to B, which is going to check whether 10 is equals to 20 or no. It is not, so it will return us false, and simply it will print false over here. See, false. Clear? Okay, so next is logical operators. See, logical operators are, little bit different, but they are actually very interesting. Okay, so there are three logical operators. And, okay, this is a and symbol, we write it twice, okay, with no spacing. So this is a and operator, this is a or operator, this is a not operator. See, and will give you true only if, see, all these logical operators are applied on more than one, okay, so and or are applied on more than one conditions, more than one values, operands, okay. So let's say A and B. If A is true, B is true, then and will return us true. Why? Because for and to return true, we need both the conditions to be true. Okay. So for example, if I'll say Ryan is 5 years old. That's true. Okay, Ryan is actually 5 years old. Now I'll say Ryan is a bright student, which is again true. Okay, so if both the conditions are true, I'll get true as an answer. Okay, but if any of the condition is false, it will return false. Doesn't matter which condition is false, first one, second one, it will return false. Okay, if both are false, it will return false. If both are, if one is false, it will return as false. It will return true only when both of them are true. Next is or. Okay, so this or operator returns true even if one condition is true. Doesn't matter whether it is the second one or the first one or both of them. For or to return true, at least one condition should be true. Clear? I'll show you, don't worry. Okay, let's come to this not operator. Not operator will, is like a naughty kid, which, who will always perform opposite of what parents say. If parents will say sit, this kid will stand. If you will say stand, the kid will sit. Okay, so not operators, if not operator, if you'll give a value true, it will return you false. If you're gonna return, if you want to give false, it will return you true. Okay, so it will always do opposite of the condition. All right, I'll show you here. Okay, so here we have logical operators. So A has a value true, B has a value false. So if I'll say A and B equals to, then we are going to calculate A and B. So A is true, B is false. As I told you, both of the conditions should be true to get an answer as true. Okay, but since B is false, we will get the condition as false. I'll show you. See, it's false. All right. Okay, so the next operator that we're going to talk about, type of operator that we're going to talk about, is the assignment operator. Okay, as the name suggests, assignment operator basically assigns some value in a variable. All right, so equals to directly assigns the value whatever is on the right hand side of the variable. Okay, so the right hand side value will be assigned to the left hand side value. Okay, so this is plus equals to. What will happen? it will kind of, okay, I can show you. Okay, so plus equals to, maybe I can show you here. Okay, so let's say assignment operator. First I have taken a is equals to 33, b is equals to 10. Then, okay, this is the conditional one, so sorry. So here we have a is equals to 33, b is equals to 10. Then what I am doing, I am printing this statement, and then what we are doing, a is equals to b. The value of b is 10. So 10 value will be assigned to a. So now the value of a is also 10, and once you'll print it, it will print 10. Okay, now let me give you one more example. Okay, let's say plus equals to, and what I'll do here is plus equals to. So plus equals to means what? Plus equals to means, this means uh, result is equals to a is equals to a plus b. Okay, plus equals to means first you plus equals to means you'll add the value of a and b, and then you're going to store it in the variable a, and then once again you're going to assign it in the variable result. Okay, I'll run it again for you. So a is 33, b is 10. It will give you the result as 43. See, 43, here we have it, right? So like that we have minus equals to, divide equals to, multiply equals to. Okay, okay, now then we have conditional operator. Okay, what is this conditional operator? See, question mark is the symbol of this conditional operator. As the name suggests, it is used whenever you have to mention any condition, right? We have different conditions in our day-to-day life. For example, I'll go to play tennis, or let's say if I'll go to, I'll go to play soccer if it is sunny, if it is not raining, right? Otherwise I'll not go. Okay, so what kind of syntax or the way that we can use it is, if a is greater than b, then the value is 100, otherwise the value is 200. Okay, so if a is greater than b, the value is 100. This 100 will be assigned to this result. If it is not greater than b, then we will assign 200. In our case, a is actually greater than 10. So what value will be assigned? 100 will be assigned to the result. Okay, mind it, we are not assigning the value of a and b in the result. We are going to assign the values which are mentioned after the question mark. Okay, maybe I can show you here. A is greater than b, question mark 100 colon 200. Okay, this is the way how we write it. So the value is 100 because actually a is greater than b. Okay, all right, so that was all about the operators. Okay, so now we are going to talk about conditional statements in JS, in JavaScript. Okay, okay, so as I told you, we have so many conditions in our day-to-day life. Correct. So one of the favorite condition of parents is, if you'll score good in exams, we will, give you a surprise. Maybe, we'll go for a vacation, maybe to some other country, right? But if you're not going to perform well, we'll stay at home in your vacations and you're going to get bored. Okay. So that's the favorite, such kind of traits are, the favorite part, very common conditional things, conditional statements that we have in our day-to-day life, right? Same way, we have conditional statements in JavaScript as well. Okay, so mainly there are two types of conditional statements, if and switch. Okay, then again it has different forms, just if else, if else if. Okay, so we are going to take an example of the second one, if else. Okay, I'll show you. So what happens, we will first evaluate a condition. What is the condition? You score good. Okay, if you score good, well, your score is greater than, let's say 90, I mean, let's say you score grade A. Okay, So if you score grade A, we are going to follow this, the true path. Okay. So whatever it is, we are going to follow this path. If you didn't score grade A, then we're going to follow this path. Okay. Maybe, follow this condition. Okay. Let me show you. Ultimately, both will lead you to the end of the, situation. But yes, the situations in both the cases will be little different. If the condition is true, if the condition is false. Okay. I'll show you here. Uh, Conditional. Okay. So let's focus over here. Okay. So if age is greater than 18, then you are qualified for driving. Okay. Otherwise means else. Else, you are not qualified for driving. How do we write it? If within the brackets, parenthesis, we are going to mention the condition which needs to be evaluated. Okay, age is greater than 18. Here I have mentioned age as 20. Okay, so if age is greater than 18, we need to do what? You have to enclose it in the parenthesis. Okay, do what means whatever code you have to do, execute, you're going to put it inside the parenthesis. Sorry, inside the curly brackets. Okay. So if within the parenthesis, you're going to give the condition, and within the curly brackets, you're going to give the code that you have to execute. Okay. Else, once again, you're going to put the curly brackets and put the code that you want to execute in if this condition is false. Okay. Maybe I can run it for you. All right. So here we have if else statement. Okay. So you're qualified for driving. Why? Because the value of age is greater than 18, right? Okay. So another type of conditional statements that we have is switch. Just imagine a situation, you whenever your parent says, if you're gonna score score grade A, then we are going to go some other country to have our, spend our vacations. Uh, if that is the only condition that you'll say, oh dad, or maybe oh mom, that's not a fair thing. I mean, what if I just, get B? It is still better than C and other grades. But what if, it's a unfair deal? So parent says, okay, fair enough. So what we can do is, we'll go, see, if you score grade A, we'll go to some other country. If you'll score grade B, we'll go to another city. If you'll score C, probably we will go within the city. Okay. And if you'll score D, we will just do maybe kind of a staycation. Okay. And if you score any other grade below that, you're gonna stay there, spend your vacations as your most boring vacation. Okay. So in such cases, we have lots of if conditions, right? If grade is greater than this, if else if grade is, B, else if grade is C, else if grade is D. So in such cases, we'll have to write so many if else, which can be a little confusing, right? So in that case, we are going to use switch. Okay. So what happens? You'll evaluate a condition here, and cases, case 1, case 2, case 3 are the conditions, are the outcomes of your condition. For example, you expression is your grade. Okay, you have to evaluate your grade. If it is a grade A, case 1 is grade A, case 2 is grade B, case 3 is grade C, and so on. There is a default grade, a default case where you can say if you don't score any of these, what should happen? Okay. Okay, so let's look into the code here. So here luckily you secured grade A, and switch, you're going to evaluate the variable or the condition grade. Okay. So grade, you have to evaluate. Case A means if you secured grade A, if the value of grade is A, in that case your parents will say good job. Okay. If it is a grade B, parents will say pretty good. Grade C, you just passed. Okay, and then if you secured grade D, your parents are not very happy and they'll say, okay, fine, but that's not so good. Okay, now case F is failed, and you're gonna, uh, it is going to be really bad for you. Okay, or maybe any other grade below, any other grade apart from these, you're gonna print unknown grade, because grades are starts from A and goes on till F. Okay, so by chance if you get any other grade other than these, it will simply be unknown grade, because we don't know the meaning of that grade actually. Okay, so let me run it. So since your grade, okay, let me give you C here. Okay, so I'll run it once again, and yeah, I'll show you. Entering a switch block. Okay, passed. Why passed? Because passed is for grade C. See, right? So that was about my conditionals in JavaScript. Okay. Then a next thing that we have to talk about is loops. Okay. Okay. See, loops are something. If you'll talk in layman's language, loop is something that keeps on happening again, 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 and again, repeatedly. Okay, the same thing happening again, 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 and again. Correct. So we have different types of loop in JavaScript. One is while, the other is for. Okay, so just imagine a situation where you have to ride your bicycle to your friend's place. Okay, you have to ride your bicycle to your friend's place. What will you do? I mean, do you actually know how many times you'll have to um, uh, do the pedaling part? No, right? Because you never know, you never counted, right? And it can be different. Okay, so you don't know how many times you have to pedal your cycle, but you know a condition that you have to keep on pedaling, keep on pedaling, keep on pedaling, keep on pedaling till you reach your friend's place. Okay, so instead of knowing a number how many times you have to repeat, you simply know the condition till when you have to repeat. Okay, so in that cases we use while loop. It is very important to understand where to use which loop. Okay, so while loop we use wherever we don't know the number of times we have to repeat, but instead of that we do know the condition till when we have to repeat. Okay, so how do we use this? While condition, you're going to put the condition while maybe you haven't reached your friend's place, while you are on a way, you will keep on pedaling. So while, within the parenthesis you'll mention the condition, and then within the curly brackets after while you have to write the code that it has to be executed till this condition is true. Okay, I can show you the actual working of it. Okay, loops, here we have loops. Okay, so focus here. This is about the while loop. Okay, so the value of count variable is 0. Okay, now while count is less than 10, you have to keep printing the value of count. Okay, the numbers you have to print. Okay, and once you print, you have to do count plus plus, which is equals to, let's say initially the value of count is 0. We'll see, is this count value less than 10? Yes, of course it is less than 10. We'll print this statement, we'll print the value of count, and then we'll do simply count plus plus. Count plus plus means whatever the value of count was, you're going to add 1 to it, which is, the value of count will be 1 this time. Once again it will see, is this count less than 10? Yes, of course it is, because the value is 1. You'll again print 1. You'll again do count plus plus. Now the value of count is 2. Is this value 2 less than 10? Yes, of course. We'll print it, and this will keep on happening, and at the end count value will be 10. So is this value 10 less than 10? No, it's not. It's equals to. Okay, so this condition becomes false, and then this code will not get executed. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this was about the while loop. Okay, let me run it. Okay, so see, The value of this current count kept on increasing one by one till it has reached 9. Okay, it will not print 10 and values above that, because the condition that we have written here will become false. Okay. Okay. So next statement, next loop that we have to discuss is the for loop. Okay. So for loop is used whenever we have to actually, whenever we know the number, right? Wherever we know the number, how many times we have to repeat. For example, let's say your room in your house is at first floor. Okay. So, and there are 20 staircases, 20 steps to reach to your first floor. So in that case, when you're climbing the stairs up, you exactly know how many times you have to climb. It's 20 times, right? So 20 times you have to climb. So there you know from where you have to start, that is the initial point, till where you have to go, that's the end point. Okay. And the increment means sometimes it happens, when you're in very good mood, you leave one staircase, climb the other, leave one, climb the other, leave one, climb the other. So in that case, increment becomes 2. You have to, add 2 to the first staircase. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Then you'll step on to the third staircase. So it's basically how many things you have to leave in between. Increment is how many things you have to leave in between. Okay, I'll just show you here. Okay, look at this, focus over here. Okay, concentrate here. So for count has to start from 0, go on till less than 10, and count plus plus. Count plus plus means you're going to increment 1 every time. So you're going to print count, value of count, give a break, line break. Then once again you'll see, is this count less than 10? Yes, of course it is. You will print, then you'll increment the count will become 2. You'll see, if it is still less than 10, yes, of course it is less than 10. You'll print it, you'll increment it, check it, print it, increment it, like that it will keep on going. So you'll start from this value, we call it as start value. You'll go until this condition, that is end value. Okay, and you have this increment. Okay, so if it would have been 2, then it would have, added 2 to the value of count every time. Okay. Okay, so once again I can show you here. See, printed. Same thing is printed, but the way of doing it is little different. Okay. While we use whenever we know the condition. For we use whenever we know the start, end, and the increment numbers. Okay. Next we're going to talk about is functions. Okay. See, you have so many functions. So functions is basically a piece of code that can be repeated again and again, or maybe reused again and again. It's a simple piece of code that is given some name. Okay. And you can simply use that name of a function if you want to execute that piece of code. I'll show you here. Sorry about that. I'll show you here. Function. See, I have written one function, say hello. Okay, so say hello is a function which will simply print hello there. Okay, so what is happening? So what is happening over here is P is a paragraph, you have displayed it, and then you are simply calling this function when you are going to click the button. There is a button on the website, I'll show you. This will be, this function will be called whenever we are going to click this button. Okay, say hello function. So say hello is the name to this function. So this code, whatever code you're going to write inside this curly brackets will be executed every time you're going to call this function. Okay, we call it with the help with this, we call it in this way, say hello and then the parenthesis. Okay, we define it, function is a keyword, we use this function, name of the function, parenthesis, and then the curly brackets and the code inside the curly bracket that you want to execute. Okay, let me very quickly execute it for you. Okay, now see, I'm going to call that say hello function. Okay, say hello will be called whenever I'll press this button. I'm pressing it and hello there is printed there. Yeah? Okay, so the final thing that we have to talk about is events. Okay, there are lots of events happening in your daily life. Maybe it's your birthday, New Year, Christmas, right? Lots of events. So the same way there are different kinds of events in computers as well. Events means some happening. Okay, for example, clicking of a mouse, it is a happening, right? Pressing of a keyboard, it's a happening. Okay, so there is a happening of all these events. What do you do on your birthday? You celebrate it, you party a lot, you open your gifts, right? So those are the actions corresponding to your event, that is birthday. So here in computers also we have events, and there should be a action corresponding to that event. I can show you here in a previous example also. We have, this event. On click is an event. On click means whenever the button is clicked, what do you have to do? What is the action corresponding to this event? You're going to call this function. Okay, call this function and print hello there. Whatever the code is, you have to execute it. That's the action that the computer have to do, that the website have to do whenever this event happens. Okay, so whenever, what's the event? When this button is clicked, you're going to do this. Do what? Call this function. All right. Okay. So well, that was all about today's session. Okay, I hope you must have enjoyed, and yes, of course, this was just the overview, and we'll have few more sessions to discuss more things. So I just hope you must have enjoyed it, and you'll definitely join further sessions to get into more details of the things, right? All right, so bye bye, see you.